Hi guys! Welcome sa enginerdmath channel. Sa video na to ay tuturo ko sa inyo ang Cramers Rule. So kung gusto niyo itong matutunan, just keep on watching. Okay, itong Cramers Rule ay isa siyang general way of solving systems of equations in any number of unknowns. So, let's say we have systems of equations in 2 unknowns, 3 unknowns, 4 unknowns, and so on. So, pwede nating magamit itong Cramers Rule. Dito sa Cramers Rule, gagamitin natin yung concept ng matrix kasi isa-solve natin yung unknown variables dito using determinants. Okay, so, let's say we have this systems of equation. Consider the systems of m linear equations having n unknowns. So, let's say meron tayong equations 1, 2, 3, 4, until n equation. At syempre, dahil meron tayong n equations, meron din tayong n unknowns. So, itong equations natin na to, pwede nating isulat yan in matrix notation. So, we have the matrix A, which is the numerical coefficients nung mga unknowns natin na x sub 1, x sub 2, until x sub n. So, ito yon. Multiplied by the unknowns x sub 1 to x sub n. So, denoted by matrix x. Equal sa matrix R, which is yung mga constants sa right side. Okay, so, A times x is equal to R. At itong matrix na to, ay pwede nating masolve yung unknowns x sub 1 to x sub n using Cramer's rule. Okay, so, for simplicity, consider na lang natin yung systems of linear equations in 2 and 3 variables. Kasi, sa video na to, 2 and 3 variables lang naman yung isa-solve natin. So, dito muna tayo sa systems of linear equations in 2 variables. So, we have a sub 1x plus b sub 1y equals c sub 1 and a sub 2x plus b sub 2y equals c sub 2. Okay, so, gaya dun sa matrix form natin, pwede nating isulat to as yung matrix A, yung numerical coefficients nung x at y dun sa first and second equation. So, we have a sub 1, b sub 1, a sub 2, b sub 2. So, ito si matrix A. Times dun sa matrix x, which are the unknowns. So, itong x saka y. X, y. Equals sa matrix R, kung saan yun yung mga constants natin na C1 tsaka C2. Okay, so applying Cramer's rule, masasolve natin yung unknown variable x at y using this formula. So for x, it is equal to the fraction kung saan yung denominator laging yung determinant ng matrix A. So, absolute value of a sub 1, b sub 1, a sub 2, b sub 2. Yung numerator natin, this time, papalitan natin itong matrix A, yung first column niya nung mga constant to denote na ang sinasolve natin ay x. Kasi diba itong a sub 1, a sub 2 ay numerical coefficient siya nung x. So, papalitan natin ng constant. So, c sub 1, c sub 2, and then copy yung b sub 1, b sub 2. Then, find the determinant. Sa y, ganun din. So, sabi ko nga sa denominator, laging yung determinant ng matrix A. So, a sub 1, b sub 1, a sub 2, b sub 2. And then this time sa numerator, since yung y naman yung hinahanap natin, ang pattern, papalitan naman natin yung column 2. Kasi ito yung mga numerical coefficients ng y natin dito sa equation. So, papalitan natin ng constant na c1, c2. So, as is a sub 1, tsaka si a sub 2, then papalitan natin yung b sub 1, b sub 2 ng c sub 1, tsaka c sub 2, then hanapin yung determinant. Okay, so ito yung tinatawag natin na Cramer's rule. So, masasolve natin yung unknown variable x at y by using the determinants lang. Okay? So, para naman doon sa 3 equations in 3 unknown natin, we have, ganun pa rin, yung matrix A, yung numerical coefficients nung x, y, at z. So, we have a sub 1, b sub 1, c sub 1, a sub 2, b sub 2, c sub 2, a sub 3, b sub 3, c sub 3. So, ito si matrix A multiplied by matrix X kung saan ito yung mga unknowns natin na X, Y, Z na this time. Equal sa matrix R yung mga constant natin na D1 to D3. Okay, so ganun pa rin yung pattern. So for x, ang value niyan, laging denominator nila, common na yung determinant ng matrix A. So A sub 1, B sub 1, C sub 1, A sub 2, B sub 2, C sub 2, A sub 3, B sub 3, C sub 3. And then sa numerator ng x, bale, papalitan natin yung column nung numerical coefficients nung x, yung a sub 1, a sub 2, a sub 3, nung constant na d sub 1, d sub 2, d sub 3. So, laging ganun yung pattern. Kung anong hinahanap nyo, yun yung papalitan yung column entries nung constant. Okay, so d sub 1, d sub 2, d sub 3, b sub 1, b sub 2, b sub 3, copy lang, c sub 1, c sub 2, c sub 3, copy lang. Then, find the determinants. Next, pattern naman ng y equals, okay, yung denominator, same pa rin, yung a sub 1, b sub 1, c sub 1, a sub 2, b sub 2, c sub 2, a sub 3, b sub 3, c sub 3, determinant niya. And then for y, this time, papalitan naman natin yung column ng mga b ng constant. Kasi yung b yung numerical coefficients ng y. So we have a sub 1, a sub 2, a sub 3 as is. Then yung column 2, papalitan natin ng constant, d sub 1, d sub 2, d sub 3. And then yung column 3 as is, C sub 1, C sub 2, C sub 3. And then last, for Z, it is equal sa denominator, determinant uli nung A. So A sub 1, B sub 1, C sub 1, A sub 2, B sub 2, C sub 2, A sub 3, B sub 3, C sub 3. And then for the numerator, papalitan naman natin yung column 3 dito sa A ng constant. Kasi yun yung numerical coefficients nung Z. So, we have, copy lang sa A sub 1, A sub 2, A sub 3, B sub 1, B sub 2, B sub 3, and then yung column 3 magiging yung constant D sub 1, D sub 2, D sub 3. Okay, so these are the formula for Cramer's rule when solving systems of linear equations in 3 variables. Okay? Okay, so para ma-illustrate yung Cramer's rule formula ay mag-solve tayo ng example. So, we have solve the systems of equations using Cramer's rule. Negative 5x minus 9y equals 7. Negative 8x plus 10y equals 2. So, sulat muna natin in matrix form. So, we have the matrix A as the numerical coefficients nung x at y, which is itong negative 5, negative 9, negative 8 at 10. So, negative 5, negative 9, negative 8 at 10. So, matrix A. Multiplied by the variable matrix which is denoted by x. So, ano yon? X at y equals sa constant matrix R, which are 7 and 2. So, dun muna tayo sa x. So, x is equal to yung denominator, yung determinant nung matrix A na negative 5, negative 9, negative 8 at 10. And then, yung numerator niya, papalitan natin itong negative 5 at negative 8 ng constant 7, 2. Then, as is yung negative 9 tsaka 10. So, try nga natin. So, dito muna tayo sa determinant nitong denominator. So, di ba ang formula niyan is multiply natin to. So, negative 5 times 10 minus multiply natin to. Negative 8 times negative 9. Base sa video ko about determinants. Then, sa numerator, multiply natin to uli. So, 7 times 10 minus multiply natin ito. 2 times negative 9. So, simplify na lang natin. So, 7 times 10 is 70 minus 2 times negative 9. So, parang positive 18 over negative 5 times 10 is negative 50 minus negative 8 times negative 9 is parang negative 72. So, we have 70 plus 18 is 88 over negative 50 minus 72 is negative 122. Or in lowest term, 44 over negative 61. Or simply negative 44 over 61. So, siya si x. Okay? Now, sa y naman, we have yung denominator, same pa rin. Yung determinant ng a, negative 5, negative 9, negative 8, and 10. Then, sa numerator, this time, papalitan naman natin tong negative 9 at 10 ng constant na 7, 2. So, as is yung negative 5 at negative 8. So, negative 5, negative 8, and then, magiging 7, 2. equals. So, ganun pa rin. So, diba itong denominator, nakuha na natin na negative 122. So, ito na lang taas. So, multiply negative 5 times 2 minus multiply negative 8 times 7. So, we have negative 5 times 2 is negative 10 minus negative 8 times 7. So, parang positive 56 over negative 122. We have negative 10 plus 56 is 46 over negative 122. Or in lowest term, may GCF pa sila na 2, so magiging 23 over negative 61. Or simply negative 23 over 61. So ito yung value natin ng y. So check natin sa calculus kung tama ba yung na-compute natin. Okay? So punta tayo sa mode 5.1. Then input natin yung numerical coefficients saka constant. So negative 5x minus 9y equals 7. Yung equation 1, so we have negative 5, negative 9, 7. Then yung equation 2 is negative 8x plus 10y equals 2. So we have negative 8, 10, and 2. Then press equal sign para masolve si x, negative 44 over 61. Then equal sign para masolve si y, negative 23 over 61. Which is tama. Okay? Next, we have use Cramer's rule to solve the system of equations x plus 2y plus z is equal to 3, 2x minus y minus z is equal to 4, and negative x minus y plus 2z is equal to negative 5. Okay, so this time, 3 equations in 3 unknowns. So, sulat muna natin in matrix form. So, we have matrix A, yung mga numerical coefficients ng x, y, at z. So, we have 1, 2, 1, 2, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, 2. So, 1, 2, 1, 2, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, 2. Matrix A. Then, multiplied by variable matrix X. So, ano na yun? X, Y, Z equals sa constant matrix R, which are 3, 4, negative 5. So, applying Cramer's rule, solve natin yung variable x with the formula, yung denominator, determinant nitong matrix A. So, 1, 2, 1, 2, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, 2. And then, yung numerator niya, papalitan natin tong column 1 ng 3, 4, negative 5, yung mga constant. So, 3, 4, negative 5. Then, copy yung remaining entries ng matrix A. 2, negative 1, negative 1, 1, negative 1, 2. Okay, so applying yung basket method. So, dito muna tayo sa denominator. So, rewrite natin. 1, 2, negative 1, 2, negative 1, negative 1, 1, negative 1, 2. Then, copy uli natin to. Base dun sa video ko about determinants. 2, negative 1, negative 1. Multiply itong diagonal na to, add, then multiply itong diagonals na to, then add, minus natin sila. So we have 1 times negative 1 times 2 is negative 2, plus 2 times negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 2, 1 times 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, minus 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 times 1 is 1, negative 1 times negative 1 times 1 is negative 1 times negative 1 times 1 is positive 1, so plus 1. Then 2 times 2 times 2 is plus 8. So we have negative 2 plus 2 minus 2 is negative 2, minus 1 plus 1 plus 8 is 10. So we have negative 2 minus 10 is negative 12. So negative 12 to. And then itong numerator, we have, copy lang natin yung entry, 3, 4, negative 5, 2, negative 1, negative 1, 1, negative 1, 2. Then, copy uli natin yung first two columns, 3, 4, negative 5, 2, negative 1, negative 1. Okay. Diagonals. So we have 3 times negative 1 times 2, negative 6, plus 2 times negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 10, plus 1 times 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. minus negative 5 times negative 1 times 5 times 1 is positive 5 plus negative 1 times negative 1 times 3 is positive 3 plus 2 times 4 times 2 is 16. So we have negative 6 plus 10 plus negative 4 is 0 minus 5 plus 3 plus 16 is 24. So we have 0 minus 24 is negative 24. So therefore we have negative 24 numerator. So negative 24 divided by negative 12 is positive 2. Okay, so therefore x is positive 2. Then for y, we have yung determinant natin sa denominator is same pa rin, di ba? Ito, nakuha na natin, which is itong negative 12. Ito na lang numerator. So papalitan naman natin tong column 2 ng constant. So we have 1, 2, 4. Sorry. 1, 2, negative 1. And then itong second column gagawing 3, 4, negative 5. 3, 4, negative 5. And then yung third column as is 1, negative 1, 2. 1, negative 1, 2. Determinant. So, hanapin ulit natin determinant ng numerator. We have 1, 2, negative 1. 3, 4, negative 5. 1, negative 1, 2. Then, copy natin yung first two column ulit. So, 1, 2, negative 1. 3, 4, negative 5. Then, arrow down for diagonals. Then, arrows up. So, we have 1 times 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 3 times negative 1 times negative 1 is 3. Plus 1 times 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Minus negative 1 times 4 times 1 is negative 4. Plus negative 5 times negative 1 times 1 is positive 5. Plus 2 times 2 times 3 is 12. So we have 8 plus 3 plus negative 10 is positive 1. Minus negative 4 plus 5 plus 12 is 13. So we have 1 minus 13 is negative 12. So we have negative 12 over negative 12 or equal to negative 1. So therefore y is equal to negative 1. And then lastly for z we have the denominator, same pa rin yung determinant na nakuha natin na negative 12. Then sa numerator, this time papalitan naman natin yung column 3 ng constant. So, copy pa rin natin tong first two columns. So, we have 1, 2, negative 1. And then, 2, negative 1, negative 1. 2, negative 1, negative 1. And then, papalitan nga natin tong third column nitong constant na 3, 4, negative 5. 3, 4, negative 5. So, hanapin uli natin yung determinant ng numerator. So, copy natin 1, 2, negative 1. 2, negative 1, negative 1, 3, 4, negative 5. Then, copy natin tong first two columns. So, 1, 2, negative 1, 2, negative 1, negative 1. So, markahan natin yung mga diagonals pababa. Then, yung mga diagonals pataas. So, therefore, we have 1 times negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5. Plus, 2 times 4 times negative 1 is negative 8. Plus, 3 times 2 times negative 1 is negative 6. Minus, negative 1 times negative 1 times 3 is positive 3. Plus, negative 1 times 4 times 1 is negative 4. Plus, negative 5 times 2 times 2 is negative 20. So, therefore, we have 5 plus negative 8 plus negative 6 is negative 9. Minus 3 plus negative 4 plus negative 20 is negative 21. So, therefore, we have negative 9 minus negative 21. So, parang negative 9 plus 21 or simply 12. So, therefore, we have 12 over negative 12 or negative 1. So, therefore, z is equal to negative 1. So, therefore, our solution is x is 2, y is 1, and z is negative 1. Okay, so check natin sa calculus kung tama yung nasolve natin. So, para ma-check, punta ulit tayo sa mode 5, this time 2. Then, input natin yung numerical coefficients nung mga variables x, y, at z, tsaka yung constants. Sa equation 1, we have x plus 2y plus z equals 3. So, we have 1, 2, 1, and 3. And then, for equation 2, we have 2x minus y minus z equals 4. So, we have 2, negative 1, and 4. And for equation 3, we have negative x minus y plus 2z equals negative 5. So we have negative 1, 2, negative 5. Then press equal sign para ma-solve si x. 2, tama. Y, press equal sign. 1, tama. Press equal sign para ma-solve si z. Negative 1, tama. Okay? Okay, so I think that's it for this video, Cramer's Rule. So, medyo mahaba lang yung computation kapag Cramer's Rule. Pero, sure kayo na masasolve nyo agad yung solution doon sa systems of linear equations. Unlike doon sa naturo ko sa inyo na elimination and substitution method, medyo mahaba din. Pero ito sa Cramer's Rule, direct to the point kasi yung process. Yun nga lang, gagamit kayo ng determinants. Okay? So, practice lang kayo para masanay kayong mag-solve using Cramer's Rule. Okay? So, sana ay may natutunan kayo sa video na to at maraming salamat sa panonood.